Welcome to Learn English with Mary and Sam. Today we're going to explore how to return an item at a store in English. Whether you're exchanging a purchase or returning something due to dissatisfaction, knowing the right phrases can help you communicate more effectively.
That's right, Mary. Returning items at stores is a common practice, and it can lead to some interesting conversations. Let's dive in.
Let's start with some common phrases for returning items. You can say, "I'd like to return this item." "Can I get a refund or exchange it?" "I'm not satisfied with this purchase."
Exactly. And if you want to explain why you're returning an item, you can say, "It doesn't fit well." "I'm not happy with the quality." "I need a different size."
Let's look at a scenario where we're returning an item. "Hi, I'd like to return this shirt. It doesn't fit well."
Of course. Do you have the receipt with you?
"Yes, here it is. Can I exchange it for a different size?"
Certainly. Would you like to try on a larger or smaller size?
"A larger size, please. Thank you for your help."
For more advanced learners, let's look at some sophisticated expressions. You can say, "I'm not entirely satisfied with this purchase." "I'd like to exchange it for something else." "Can you walk me through the return process?"
Those are great examples, Sam. Here are a few more. "I'm considering returning this item because it doesn't meet my expectations. I'd appreciate it if you could help me with the return process. I was wondering if it's possible to get a store credit instead of a refund."
Let's explore these phrases in different contexts. For example, you could say, "I'm not happy with the quality of this item, so I'd like to return it. Could you please explain the return policy?"
When returning items, cultural context is important. In some cultures, returning items is seen as a standard customer right, while in others, it might be viewed differently.
That's right. Understanding these nuances can help you navigate social situations more smoothly.
For example, in many Western countries, stores often have generous return policies, and returning items is common. However, in some Asian countries, returns might be less common or more complicated.
Exactly. And in some cultures, haggling or negotiating might be expected, even during the return process.
One common mistake is using expressions that might come across as too confrontational. For example, saying, "This product is terrible," might not be well received.
Good point, Mary. It's better to use more neutral language, like, "I'm not satisfied with this product," or "This item doesn't meet my needs."
Another mistake is forgetting to bring the receipt or proof of purchase. Always remember to say, "Here's my receipt," when initiating a return.
When returning items, remember to use polite language and conditional structures. For example, "Would it be possible to return this item? I was wondering if I could exchange this for a different color."
That's right. And don't forget to use past tense when explaining why you're returning the item. For instance, "I bought this last week, but it doesn't fit properly. When I tried it at home, I realized it wasn't what I needed."
Now, let's get interactive. We want to hear from you. What's your most memorable experience returning an item at a store? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
That's right. And if you have any questions about returning items, feel free to ask.
We'll also give you a quick quiz. Can you think of a situation where you would use the phrase, "I'd like to exchange this for a different model"? You might say, "I'd like to exchange this for a different model," if you bought an electronic device that doesn't have the features you need.
Exactly. For example, "I'd like to exchange this laptop for a different model with more storage capacity."
Let's do another role play to practice returning an item at a store. This time, let's focus on a situation where the customer doesn't have a receipt.
"Hello, I bought this blender last month, but it's not working properly. Unfortunately, I can't find the receipt."
I see. Without a receipt, we can offer store credit for the current selling price of the item. Is that okay?
"I understand. Could you tell me what the current price is?"
The blender is currently priced at $45. We can issue a store credit for that amount.
That works for me. Thank you for explaining the policy. Sometimes returning an item can be challenging. Let's practice some phrases for more difficult situations.
Good idea, Mary. For instance, if a store clerk is being unhelpful, you might say, "I understand the policy, but could I speak to a manager about this? I've been a loyal customer for years. Is there anything else you can do to help?"
And if you're returning something after the return period, you could try, "I know it's past the return date, but I only used this item once. Is there any way you can make an exception? I understand if a full refund isn't possible, but could we explore other options?"
Let's roleplay one of these situations. "Hi, I bought this camera 3 months ago, but I've only used it once. I've realized it's more complex than I need. Is there any way I can return or exchange it?"
"I'm sorry, but our return policy only allows returns within 30 days of purchase."
"I understand. Given that it's barely been used, is there any possibility of store credit or an exchange?"
"Let me see what I can do. We might be able to offer a partial store credit as a courtesy. Let me check with my supervisor."
"I really appreciate you looking into this for me. Thank you for your help." It's worth noting that customer service expectations can vary greatly between cultures. In some countries, the customer is always considered right, while in others, store policies are more rigid.
That's a great point, Sam. For example, in Japan, customer service is often exceptionally polite and accommodating. In contrast, in some European countries, customers might be expected to be more self-reliant.
Exactly. In the United States, customers often expect to be able to return items easily, while in some other countries, returns might be less common or more complicated.
Understanding these differences can help you adjust your approach when returning items in different cultural contexts. Today, we covered a range of expressions for returning items at a store, from basic to advanced. Remember, always start with a polite greeting and clearly state your intention to return or exchange an item. Explain why you're returning the item concisely and politely. Have your receipt ready and mention it early in the conversation. Use conditional language and polite phrases to make requests. Be prepared to negotiate or ask for alternatives if faced with difficulties. Stay calm and respectful, even in challenging situations. Be aware of cultural differences in return policies and customer service expectations.
That's right. Practice these expressions in your daily life to improve your English skills and handle returns more confidently.
Thanks for joining us today. If you have any questions or want to share your experiences with returning items, please comment below.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more episodes of Learn English with Mary and Sam. We have some exciting topics lined up for you in the coming weeks.
Until next time, keep practicing and remember, clear communication is key when returning items.